Alright, YouTube, here we are. We got Alan's car, and he's the one behind the videos and stuff. He's been doing the doing our editing and stuff. So this is like my second gen, third gen, I think. Third gen, yeah. Double pumper, and it was back when I was using brass fittings and stuff. Well, we had a pump overheat, or at least the wires overheat, so it actually kind of melted a couple leads, and it's kind of flown a little bit of fuel up into the actual stock connector. So we are going to revise his, and we're going to do a bulkhead connector and try to make it to where both fuel pumps run their main power and ground through the bulkhead connector, silicone up the stock fuel pump connection inside the tank area, and try to fix it. We can't build another one. We're just trying to make his work right now, and we've got all the fittings to kind of update it. So I'll show you the mess we got going on. So right here we got the actual stock return size. You know, it's the little 4AN hose. He's got it running to the saddle, and the saddle's over there underneath that one. So, and then here's our little brass connectors, because all these fit underneath the cover. But what we're going to do is we're going to do 120 degree fittings with the 6AN fittings coming out the top here. We're going to modify this because this is how I drilled it originally, so tight that the wires just barely fit through right here. Here, I'll give you a close-up, but so that way, I mean, it seeped a little bit of fuel out of it, but it was okay. You know, it wasn't a big issue. But right now, the problem we're having, but the two leads that I'm pointing at right there and right there, I don't know if you can tell, but kind of melted a little bit. So now it's allowing this whole connector, as you can see, it's already got fuel in it right now. So we're going to fix that. We're leaving these stock. We're going to upgrade these to the new bulkhead fittings from STM, and then we're doing a bulkhead fitting probably over here somewhere. That way I can actually incorporate this area. We'll see how it works out. You know, we might have to silicone up these holes and do the bulkhead fitting right there. But this is what we're doing to fix his. And then we're going to clean up some of this wiring and put another relay on. We're still going to use the actual stock turn on. And then, you know, like I said, let's see if I can show you right here. But we had it, for some reason it overheated. But as you can tell, right there, those two connections right there have melted the stock plug. So we're abandoning those, and we're going to try to fix this so we don't got to build a whole new fuel pump insert, because they're $400 a pop through Mitsubishi. So here's our fix. All right, we're going to leave it to Alan here to get it out.
So anyway, pretty straightforward, simple here as far as getting it out. 6AN lines right here going into the brass fittings. Originally, when I got this pump from Nate, it actually was barb fittings that he was using. I actually added on the 6AN lines to it to convert it. I've already gone ahead. Factory plug obviously is disconnected, and then the saddle siphon, and I've got that disconnected too. This we just take off. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting this disconnected, and then we will go from there.
Alright guys, so this is one of my earlier ones, and as you can tell, check it out. So we got a big old strap of where the original fuel filter used to be, and I use that to strap the fuel pumps to it. We got 525.
525 primary and a 450 secondary.
Okay. And as you can tell, I mean, she fits pretty tight. So to get down inside there, this guy right here is the one that's leaking. So we got to take this whole thing apart. We got to pull this thing out, and we're going to fill this whole thing with silicone, because we got to get those leads sealed up. And then, from the looks of it, I don't know, we might be able to, yeah, the bulkhead fitting might fit right there. So we might not have to silicone these up and abandon them, but we are abandoning these. These are going away. So I am going to have him take this bad boy apart. We're going to test the 450 because the 450 is the one that's been having the problems.
525's having
the Is it the really?
Yeah, the 525 is the one's having the problems. The 450 we know is good because when it broke, I got it home on the secondary pump. So
okay.
Not too worried about that. Get a pretty green towel.
Yep.
Get the green screen out. Okay, so we're just gonna get this all taken apart.
Now, before, what I ended up used to actually thread these things so they seal a little bit better. As you can tell, I had the Teflon tape on there. So, yeah, that worked out really well. But now we're abandoning that. Got to flatten this piece out right here a little bit so I can get a better seal, because we're using that fitting, and as you can tell, we need it as flat as possible there. We're going to open up this hole, and then we're going to actually do the bulkhead fitting. We're going to try to do that bulkhead fitting right there so we can actually take out those two little holes where the wires used to be. Oh yeah, dude, it melted those really good, dude. Pretty sure that's clean from all the alcohol, so let's just fill that thing up. Alright, here we go. So we got fittings in, that's on, that's tight. Got them re-ran in, got that siliconed right there. And now it's time to tighten these two up. I got these two tight, so here we go.
Alright guys, so we've got this all back together now. This is the next day. We let this sit probably about a good 24 hours so that we could let all that silicone down in there. You can kind of see it there dry up a little bit. Now we're just gonna basically put it back together and get everything wired up with the new relays and kind of go from there. Alright, so spared just some of the agony of watching me put this back in. As you can see, I've got the lines here. So this one right here in the center, that's going to go to my primary, which is the 525 Walbro. One right here kind of towards the edge is going to go to the smaller 450 secondary pump. We've got the new lines coming out. Now this is what's going to actually be the power and the grounds for both pumps. As you can see, we've got these numbered. There's your, I don't know if you can see that very well. We've got a number 1 written down on that one, number 2 written up on that one, and that coincides with what we've written down kind of here on the pumps as well. So we got the 525 and the 450 actually marked on the fuel pump housing. So now we need to go through, fix some of the wiring with part of the problem we have. You can kind of see here, this got really hot, and when it got hot, it melted the pigtail going into the actual relay itself. So we're gonna do some rewiring here, put another couple new relays in it, and hopefully fire it up, and everything should be good to go.
Turn the key to on.
You got all fuses in it?
Yep, fuse is in, that fuse is in. Okay. Yep, we're good. So go ahead and activate. There we go. Look at that. We got a fuel pump.
Primary's good. I don't think we really did anything to the second pump.
Well, the nice thing is it was okay. So what I think ended up happening is the secondary pump probably just had this connector right here was already getting hot through the actual plug. And since it was getting hot and had a lot of resistance, that's why it melted.
Okay.
So that's probably the main reason why that did that. So this is
and the secondary pump wasn't having any issues, so we should be fine. Basically, all we did is we bypassed the factory wiring harness for the power and the ground for the the second
Well,
pump.
we bypassed this factory wiring harness right here. We're still using the factory wiring harness for activation, right?
For the signal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then both pumps are grounded to this wire right here, which is unpluggable, right?
Okay.
And then...
And you left the pumps unpluggable too, right?
Yeah, so, well, even though you didn't really have to, I kind of did a redundant connector here.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a connector here, and we got a connector here, right?
So, fuel pumps are wired up now. You've got the 2 power wires coming out of the bulkhead fitting there, 2 grounds. Of course, the 2 grounds just run over here. Relays, actually, surprisingly enough, were fine. Just think we basically burn out power wire internally. You can see right there the 2 ends of the connector. They're just cut now. That's where the factory power and the factory ground actually comes from. That's what we were running with the primary pump itself. So we've now modified that so it completely bypasses that. The only thing that you're really using off this plug now is the signal for the fuel level. Of course, you got the white wire here. This is your actual trigger wire for the primary pump to cut on. This little green wire here, we don't really run a Hobbs switch on our cars per se. We basically just run it straight off the ECU. So it's set up to look for a certain parameter, and that's what actually causes it to activate the secondary pump when you're at either a certain throttle level, certain level of boost, certain voltage, things of that nature. So basically all we need to do now, we're just going to go ahead and get the cover back on here, get everything put back together, and we should be good to go.
Well, and that wraps up this episode here at Snellfed Performance. We appreciate you stopping by and checking out the channel. Hopefully you give us a like and subscribe for future updates on Mark's Evo, as well as other projects we have down the line. Have a great day, and thanks for coming by.